I went to New York Comic Con, and now I'm blind from all the foil. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Matty, host of this here MM Comics YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to go through my New York Comic Con haul right now. I got about a short box of books to show you guys, so settle in there, smash that like button, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. All right, we're going to go through what I picked up at New York Comic Con. I went for 2 days out of 4 days. I wasn't able to attend for Saturday or Sunday, and it turns out, I think that was probably for the best. I spent a lot of money in the 2 days I was there, Thursday and Friday, and I also understand that it gets really hairy Saturday and Sunday, especially Saturday. It tends to be the busiest day, so I'm kind of glad I got in and out Thursday, Friday, if you know what I mean. So let's take a look at what I got. In addition to picking up a lot of exclusive variants, many of which are foil, I was able to dig through like 2 boxes of comics. Like, I really did very little comic hunting in earnest, and I happened upon a few deals, things that I'm happy I picked up. I'll go through those things first before I get into all of the exclusive foily goodness. So one thing I picked up from a vendor sort of, last minute, before the con closed on the first night, was a couple of Todd newsstands. I got an ASM 323 newsstand and an ASM 308 newsstand. Neither of these are keys, but they're both Todd McFarlane covers. And, I had sort of Manu's voice in my head from the 99 newsstand, and it came from the newsstand podcast fame. He was saying, those 9/8s are just sitting in boxes, like 9/8 newsstands and whatnot, like books that are sort of, they could be run fillers or whatever, but like if you're talking about a Todd newsstand and they have a shot, even if they're high grade, like 9496, and they're going for like $5, it's a good pickup. So I believe I got these. I don't think these prices are right. I think I got them for $3 each. Not positive, but I passed on a lot of other issues in this run that were not as high grade, but I was specifically looking for the potential 9/8s in the bunch. They might have been $5 each. They might be these sticker prices, $5 and $10. I don't remember. It's all a big blur what I spent on everything, but I'll take a closer look at these two and see how well I did on those. The only other pickup I got from, actual comic book dealers, rather than like exclusive retailer type of people, was this little stack of books right here. If you guys are Silver Surfer people or just know kind of Copper Age low print runs, I don't know if that made sense. You might be familiar with Silver Surfer Volume 3, which is kind of the main 90s run, that most of us know if you're around my age as kids. That's what I collected as a kid. But I did not collect this far up in the run. Like 145 is the second to last or penultimate issue of the run. And they start getting really hard to find, relatively hard to find, above issue maybe 80, 90, 100. It gets harder to put together this run. So I am putting together the run. I keep notes on what issues I need. And I was able to add approximately, or actually, I think exactly 20 issues to my run. There were even a couple of issues in this run that I think I already had, but they were so high grade and or newsstand that I had to pick them up again. So, real quick, here's like 145, the penultimate issue, 144, third to last issue, 98, 95. Here is 106, which is a newsstand and it's high grade. So, and here's a dope Doom cover, you know, there's just cool books in this run. A lot of them I don't really know the covers, so they're a little bit extra exciting in that way because it's kind of like adds a little mystique to it or whatever. So yeah, I think this will fill in a large part of the run that I need, and I got these for $3 a piece with a little bit of a discount. So the guy, he was closing up shop, and I was like, "Can I do $50 for all these?" And he was like, "No, $3 is a steal for those. $3 is a steal." He was like, kind of mad that they were in the $3 bin because I think he sort of thought that they were like regular Silver Surfer Volume 3 books. And it's true, these probably can fetch like $6 to $8 a piece, 10, 15 if they're newsstand and high grade. Who knows? But I'm really looking to keep these, and any of the issues that I fill in my run or doubles that I have, I will then sub out the lower grade and let those be on sale. I don't know if I can talk English today very well. This is another $5 book I got from that other dealer, just like ASM Nice Smile Spider-Verse book. Very high grade, apparently. So I picked that up. I feel like maybe it was 30% off off the sticker price. I don't know. Again, maybe it was $5. It's all a blur. $5 looks very cheap when you're dropping upwards of $50, $60, $75 on exclusive variants. So I'm doing a few videos this week because I have so much to share with you guys, so much show and tell. This video is going to go over the exclusive variants that I picked up and signatures that I acquired at New York Comic Con. And then I also have almost 50 CGC books back. That's why I look like I'm surrounded by boxes. It's because I am surrounded by boxes. I'm going to separate that into another video just to, break up the content and keep you coming back for more. All right, so let's go through the exclusives that I picked up at New York Comic Con. Most of which, if not all, will be available for sale at my live claim sale / auction this Thursday night. The third week of October, I believe it is. So I'm going to show you these exclusives. I'm going to either do auction format on some of them. Some of them are going to be claim sale format, depending on fair market value. There's going to be some added value for ones that are signed. So first I'm going to show you the books that are not signed. These are just exclusives that I picked up. Also keep in mind that a few of the exclusives I did drop off for CGC grading, some of which were signed, some of which were not. So there's that to consider as well when you think about this haul that I basically dropped, I don't know, something like $2,000, $2,500 on exclusives. I'm hoping I can recoup it. I'm really hoping. We'll see what happens. All right. First off, we have a Will Jack, Batman Adventures 12, Harley Quinn, first appearance, reprint. Will Jack was there signing. It's a little weird. There's an artist's alley sort of on the lower level of the convention center where the vast majority of artists are down in the basement, so to speak. But there are some artists that are sort of like attached to different retailers, and you see them like at the table signing at those retailers' tables. So Will Jack was one of those where I was just sort of like, it's kind of on the fence if I needed signatures and whether I needed to go find a CGC witness if I got them. And I ended up just skipping it for Will Jack. I got 2 copies of this, one of which I graded for just a blue label, and the other one I kept raw. This one is a 9.8 candidate, and it's just a really nice Will Jack foil Batman Adventures 12 reprint. So first appearance of Harley Quinn in a foil exclusive reprint. All right, next up I have a cool book that I got 3 copies of apparently. Thought I got 4, no, maybe just 3. This is Creepshow #1, the Matt Wilson variant, limited to 200 copies. I picked up 3 of them because there's only 200 made. They're all 9.8 candidates, and it is Halloween time. So if you want a rare, creepy horror book, there is your book. Okay, next up I have a Mexican foil reprint of the Scotty Young Run the Jewels homage. This is Deadpool. I'm not sure what original issue this was. This is a 9/8 candidate. Okay, just a word on what books I chose to grade and what books I chose not to grade. It's a tough decision to make. Obviously, we all know slabs are a little bit harder to move than raw books. And it's tough to make decisions on the fly. Conventions are extremely chaotic and overwhelming. And if you don't have a game plan, you can kind of sink and like lose out on a lot of different opportunities if you don't kind of get organized and sort of decide what your priorities are. So I decided what I should do is basically grade all of the exclusives I got. So day one was sort of like acquiring variants, like exclusive variants that I'd heard about or just walking around the con and seeing what looked good. It was acquiring things, dropping a bunch of cash. And then day two, I got to the con, did a little bit more of that, and then I took a break. And I sat down and just graded, basically pre-screen graded everything that I'd purchased the day before, including some books that I'd brought to the con to get signed. At this point, I hadn't really acquired any signatures yet from the floor. So that was part of my strategizing. It's like, which books, basically my rule to myself was no CCS. I don't want to use CCS for pressing anything. I do pressing myself. I don't particularly like CGC's pressing service. It just felt, I'm already spending a lot of money. I just wanted to minimize that outlay of cash. If I'm going to grade something, I want the condition to already be there without a press. And you guys know, if you buy from me on Instagram at Comic Sales, you know what I like to call that type of book. It's a natural 9/8. That's what I like to call a book that does not, in my opinion, need a press in order to achieve a 9/8 or better. So that, because I had that rule for myself, and I'm pretty experienced with the pre-screen process and kind of weeding out books that don't immediately pass 9/8 criteria, I basically did that with every single book that I'd acquired or brought to the show. And I only considered grading the ones that do not need a press, the ones that are natural 9/8 candidates. So if you ever buy a book from me and you see these words on the back, CAN, that means candidate. If you see, or C sometimes, if you see NAT or N, that means natural. It means no press needed, it's natural. So I started coding for myself, natural or candidate. And the natural ones were the ones that I considered getting signed and submitting, or just straight submitting, right? So that was sort of how I weeded out and made my decision a little easier. Of course, like, for example, the Momoko books that I got 4 really beautiful Momoko books, and I got them all signed, but none of them were ready to go as 9/8. So unfortunately, I left them all raw. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's good to have some, equal parts raw signed books as it is graded signed books. Anyway, that's a little bit of my backstory as to why I decided to grade what I did. This one I just picked up one copy. I think it cost me like 40, 50 or 60 bucks. That's the problem, is like I kept track of what I was spending, but not necessarily per item. So it's a little shaky for me to remember how much I'm into these books. But this is a Mexican foil reprint of the Scotty Young Run the Jewels variant. It's funny, I just saw a shout out to Mac the Stack, Machina on Machina 101, I think he is, on Instagram. I just saw him at a Run the Jewels concert. So maybe he might be interested in this one. Shout out Mac the Stack. I had this as a 9/8 candidate, and I did not get it graded because it would have needed a press. All right, so we've got the Matt Wilson. We did that. Okay, Giant Size X-Men 1. This is, I told myself going into the con, I do not want to buy any foil reprints of key books that already exist. As you can see, I broke my own promise. I bought that Will Jack, at least that's a variant foil, but this one is just a straight facsimile foil. And, some retailer had the bright idea of like, well, they made a Giant Size X-Men facsimile, but they didn't make a foil, so I'm going to be the guy that makes the foil. Somebody made that brilliant business decision and really cleaned up, I imagine, because they sold these for $40 a pop. I believe they're going for 60 or 70 on eBay, which is not a great flip if you're a flipper like me. Both of them were natural 9.8 candidates. I decided to grade one and keep one raw. One other caveat, guys, is that there are a few friends and customers who did already sort of express interest in certain books, like this one, and some of the Transformers books you'll see. There are a few that might be dealt or sold before you see a live sale that I do. Just a caveat. If you want the Giant Size X-Men and the raw is not available, I will have the 9.8 coming back in not too long. So there's that. Anyway, both the retailer who sold this to me was nice enough to let me like sort of pick through a stack of copies because it is oversized and it is foil. The corners are not perfect, but I picked two of the most perfect corner copies I could find because I wanted them to be naturals. I wanted to have the best shot possible. He was telling me, you know, CGC, we already spoke to them. They already are aware of the defect and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, well, if they're aware of the defect, I want to get a 9.9. Know what I'm saying? So anyway, I got the best copies I could of the Giant Size 1 foils. All right, here comes another pseudo foily thing. This definitely a gimmicky cover. This is a Jason versus Michael Myers one-shot, I believe, from Cave Comics. It is a metal cover, and it's glow-in-the-dark. And it's limited to 50 copies, COA 3 of 50. Okay, he was saying that the retailer was saying it was selling out. I realized that might be a selling tactic, and it works pretty well on me. If they're like, it's almost sold out, I'm like, give it to me now. I want it. But this is the cover art's by Raymond Gay, and if you haven't noticed, it is a Hulk 181 homage. So a lot of gimmicks going on here, homaging one of the most famous comic covers of all time. A metal and a glow-in-the-dark, and it's limited to 50, and it's two well-known horror icons. So, I mean, even though it's gimmicky as hell, as a seller, I'm kind of like, yes, 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 yes. Checks a lot of boxes, and it's not going to be hard to sell. And I haven't checked any fair market, aftermarket prices on any of this stuff, except maybe like what Key Collector claims things are worth. But Key Collector didn't even notice or sort of list this this variant. There are a lot of variants that go even under the radar of Key Collector because they're so limited or from lesser known retailers. Okay, the next one, I got a couple copies. I actually got 4 of these. The Baldari variant for Miles Morales number 9. It's a really cool Spider-Verse variant. I kind of ogled it when it first came out online. It came out in advance of the con. I noticed it and I thought about it, but I think that they were marking it up at the time online, and I was able to get them for $30 a piece. So I picked up 4 copies. I know I have one friend who's interested already. They were all 9.8 candidates, but the 2 copies that were natural candidates I sent in to be graded, and I have 2 more raws. Another Miles book here, I have the Joe Jusko, Miles Morales 10. This is a 9.8 candidate, but apparently Jusko was at the con, but he was not in Artist Alley. So when I searched for him on the app, the New York Comic Con app, he didn't show up. Would have been great to see him, meet him, get him to sign this, but apparently he was on that main floor and he didn't come up in the Artist Alley search, so I missed that. But really cool. He also did a Green Goblin variant, but obviously I like the Miles better. So there's that. Next up I have Tyler Kirkham. I got 2 copies of Predator versus Wolverine number 1. Now, this is really cool to me because these are both 9.8 candidates. I wanted to get him signed by Kirkham, but I think he was done for the day when I sort of got around to trying to find his table. So I missed that. I missed out on that. It's impossible to do everything you want to do, guys. It's like a scavenger hunt. Bad Idea Comics was actually doing a legitimate scavenger hunt with like race tags and like telling people to go find different shit. There were people running around with Bad Idea tags on them. Like, good job, guys. Another bad idea. It's actually kind of a good idea. But anyway, there's so much to do. It feels like you're running a relay race or a scavenger hunt or whatever. Missed out on getting any Tyler Kirkham signatures. But the reason I really like this variant is because not only is it a cool looking variant, and it's a #1 issue, first time to my knowledge that Wolverine fights Predator, and it's a really cool matchup, but I did not pick up any copies of this on the off the shelf, so to speak, because it's a $7.99 cover price, for one thing. And for another thing, all of the trade dress copies of this book have this really annoying like Fox, 20th Century Fox logo in the top left-hand corner of the book. It's very distracting. It's very unsightly. I was not a fan. So I think I bought like one Scotty Young cover, called it a day. I did not buy in on this book. But the exclusive covers are not any more expensive than other exclusives. They're like $30 a piece. So if I can get a virgin version of this key book that's very expensive at cover price for $30, that feels like a good deal to me. And it's a popular artist. And again, a really cool matchup. And I don't see that gaudy 20th Century Fox in the corner. So happy to have those. Next up, I got one copy of this Common Coley variant on Dark Droids #1 second print. This is just a cool Ahsoka Tano variant virgin. It's 9/8 candidate. I tried to look for Common Coley's table. I could not find it. All right, next up, more Star Wars. I've got an Okazaki three-peat. This beautiful Shadows of Starlight #1. This was also a great grab, in my opinion, because it's a key book. It has first appearances in it. The regular covers were selling well. And it's a great artist in Okazaki who did that now famous Spider-Punk cover and another couple of great Yoda covers. So we've got the regular trade dress with COA limited to 1,500. We've got the sketch edition with COA limited to 700. And we've got the Virgin. I think I showed these in the wrong order. We've got the Virgin limited to 800. So the sketch is actually the most rare. And they were all 9/8 candidates, but not natural. Oh, one of them was natural, but it was the trade, and I didn't feel like getting the trade graded. If anything, I would want to grade one of the more rare ones. But again, the condition of the book made my decision for me. So I kept them all raw, and then maybe someone would like to get the full set. So there's that. What else? The COAs for these are great. This is from a company called The Comic Corner, which does these very classy little COAs. I've got a lot of cool COAs from the con. I'll show you guys at the end, but especially for the ones that I got graded, because I wanted to reserve those COAs for later once the books come back to me. Okay, one more Star Wars book for now. I've got this Star Wars Mandalorian #5, which I believe is the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano in the Mandalorian series. So in other words, it sort of commemorates, this is a very convoluted key definition here, but it commemorates the first time we see her in television. The first time we see her in live action, this issue commemorates. I think I've got that right. Doesn't really make for a comic key, but it is a cool Ahsoka Tano book, I would say. It's sort of a key in reverse, So this one is a 9/8 candidate. It's by Kyle New. I was not able to find him for a signature. I don't think he was at the con. I just have one copy of that. All right, next up, moving to Street Fighter, I have a Greg Horn, aka Horny Greg. A Horny Greg Virgin Metal variant on a Street Fighter, probably the swimsuit issue, I would imagine. I've got a customer who collects cami covers. I figured this was going to be, very desired by somebody like him. If not him, then somebody like him. Really nice cover. It's a metal. I thought about grading this one. This one would have been good for a 9/8, or probably better because it's a metal. They get 9 9s and 10s oftentimes. But I wanted to offer it to my buddy that actually collects this character to see if he wants it raw before I try to grade it. That one cost, I want to say like $75. Spent a lot of money, guys. I spent a lot of money. Okay, now there is a reprint edition of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 from 1984, the Mirage OG issue. This is that reprint. There were a few variants at the con that commemorated this issue, or sort of have the guts of this issue, are Turtles #1. This particular variant is by Raymond Gay, the same artist who did the Michael Myers versus Jason cover. Never heard of him, but he was on a lot of variants at the con. You can see with the COA, it's number 112 of 1984. So they basically printed 2,000 of these, and then cut it down to 1984 to commemorate the year of its original publication. So there you have it. This is a New York Comic Con exclusive variant from Collector Cave for Turtles #1. I got 2 copies. They're both natural 9/8, but the other bummer of one of the other bummers of the con was that I was not able to get signatures from Kevin Eastman. One of these would have been signed by Kevin and probably graded, but every day he had a really long line, and you basically needed to get there right at opening in order to get a spot on the line, or sort of a reservation. They had a wristband sort of system for that. So because of that, I was staying in Brooklyn, took forever to get in Manhattan, parking, walking all the way with a dolly, with a short box full of books I'm bringing. It's just like, it took forever to get into the con. So I missed out. Luckily, I have met Kevin before, not too long ago, it wasn't like I missed the opportunity of a lifetime or anything. It's just I had a lot of plans for my second meeting with Kevin, namely to get a few books signed, graded, whatnot. And I also brought like a box of toys, like 4 different cool toys, Last Ronin, Casey Jones, stuff like that I would have loved to have him sign and remark. But again, have to be another time. So because I missed the chance to get Kevin on these, I didn't really want to get him graded, because I was kind of like, for me, it was more of a matter of getting that signature series label to kind of set it apart and kind of increase the value. I probably wouldn't be keeping that one, but anyway. Another cool Turtles cover. This is a Rose Besh, another one that I would have loved to have Eastman sign, because I would have loved to get Eastman and Besh on one of these with a signature series label. Now that I've been at one of the big cons, I now understand the appeal of sort of the multi-signature hunt. It's a lot of fun to kind of like, for that whole scavenger hunt vibe, to sort of like say, ooh, this book has these 2 creators working on it. So if I go here at this time and there at this time and get witnesses both times, you kind of have to, feels like you have to move heaven and earth to kind of make it happen. But it's very satisfying when it comes together. I'll tell you later which books I was able to get double signatures and actually a triple signature on. So we're still getting through these guys. We're almost done with the unsigned books. So here is a Venom 23 Skan Shri Swan. So I think that's probably how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure. 9/8 Candidate, cool sort of Black Widow Venomized cover. But yeah, just wanted to keep this one raw. And could not find Skan, although later realized he was probably at one of those booths on the main floor. That happened with a few people, Will Jack, Skan, but it's all good. All right, now moving into the books that are signed and raw. So not all of these books are signed, but I sort of grouped them together. So you'll see, like, if I got, Frizen book signed, etc. I'll group them sort of by artist at this point, because at least some of the books were signed by the creator. So I did meet Jenny Frizen. It was cool to meet her. She was wearing a mask. She seemed tired. I didn't have a lot to say to her. I just said, I love your work. And she said, thanks. And that was about it, But, a meeting's a meeting. It was cool to meet her. I also met Jim Steranko, and he talked my ear off for like 30 minutes, which was fabulous. Always recommend meeting Jim Steranko in person. Let him talk your ear off. Who knows how many more opportunities any of us will have to have such a lucid, sharp, brilliant, legendary, talented creator talk our ear off in that way. I really appreciated that. And he's a legend. and he was great to meet. But anyway, back to Jenny Frison. So yeah, I basically I just picked some cool Frison covers from my collection, from my inventory. I brought them. They're not fabulously valuable books, so they're just cool covers. Harley, and Poison Ivy. Signatures look pretty good. There's the silver on Ivy, silver on Harley, and black up the red sleeve is really nice on that one. So like I said, just she does 3 SIGs for free, which is nice. It's sort of nice when creators let you get a little deal like that when you're not doing CGC grading. I still donated to her by so to speak by getting this book signed and CGC certified, because most artists, if they give signatures for free, they will still charge if you're getting the book graded. So that was the case for Jenny. Check this out, guys. I'll just show this off now. We'll do a little segue into the books that I did get Signature Series witnessed. So this is Berserker, sort of a one-shot Berserker spin-off type of thing. But somebody did an exclusive variant with Jenny on this metal. So it's a metal Jenny Frison cover. It looks just like this, but it's in metal and it's gorgeous. And it looks pretty epic in metal, I gotta say. This one is limited to 50 copies, and I got the first one of the 50. I'm pretty sure that the dealer didn't mean to give me the number one. I feel like most dealers will reserve number one for themselves or the artist or something like that. But I'm holding on to the COA because when it comes back from grading, I want to definitely include this with the slab to be like, this is the first one of 50. Because a lot of collectors will go for that. It especially matters if it's a book that has like the edition number on the book itself, like that Banana Wolverine that everyone loves from a few years back before the pandemic. I actually once had, they had 3,000 of those issued, and they had the edition number, signed number right in the bottom right corner of the book, kind of a digital imprint on it. And I had the 3,000th copy, 3,000 of 3,000 in 9.8. And I ended up selling it for about double what a normal 9.8 was going for. I sold it for about 6 when it normally goes for 3. So that's what kind of the number premium can sometimes do for you, especially when it's a book like that that has it right on the book itself. I don't know how much this will matter. I think there are not going to be that many of these out there because it's limited to 50. But still, I want to commemorate the fact that this was the first one that was given the COA. So this is one of the ones that I got graded. And no, Berserker was just Frison. That was just a single sign. But I got that submitted. What else did I get submitted? You'll see this a little bit later, but I got one of the Adi Granov Ahsoka books signed and graded because it's just a very clean, beautiful cover. And Adi was just sitting right there, and I had a natural 9.8 candidate. And I thought, let's make a 9.8 yellow label of this book. Let's do it. So that's one of the ones I got graded. Okay, now you're going to see this a little bit later, this Scott Williams stuff. Scott Williams is a famous inker. He's mostly known for inking, but he's on all sorts of famous books from the 90s and stuff. He's a legend. And I had to sort of learn for myself who he was. But a friend of mine wanted me to pick this up for him. You'll see the book in a little bit, but check out this fucking COA. This is what the cover looks like for this Deadpool versus Wolvie cover. It's for X-Men Foil New York Comic Con variant issue 26. This particular copy, the COA, I mean, just look at the manufacturing on this, the high quality, high caliber nature of this collectible. The COA is numbered 768 of 1992, so another release that kind of commemorates the year that it came out. 1992, commemorating essentially, I think they were sort of commemorating X-Men #1, I think that was the idea. They did a certain amount of exclusives for San Diego Comic-Con, which I will show you, and then some for New York Comic-Con as well. I'll show you those as well. But I got one copy of this remarked. I splurged for the remark. He already had it pre-remarked, and it's like blood splattered all around it with a signature, and his signature looks amazing. And I was just like, yes, we're doing this. It was $150 plus $20 to get it graded before CGC fees. So the whole thing is going to be like a $200 investment on my part, but it's going to be sick. You guys will not be disappointed when you see that come back. So that is what the COA looks like. I only got one of these graded. You'll see the other copies in a moment. What else can I show you for COAs? Right, so this one will give you a little story about double signatures. So this is a cover of World Tree issue number 5, I believe, by Derek Chu. Derek Chu's a little hit or miss for me, but, you know, I personally think this cover is extremely sexy, and I think it's just a hit. So I picked it up, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to get Derek Chu and James Tynion on this book? That's when the gears started turning. I was like, okay, let's try to do some double sig action here. However, once I got the CGC rep, the witness, which is no small feat, you have to wait in a long ass line to start getting CGC's attention. And then they kind of take you in groups up different aisles of the con of Artist Alley based on what artist you're looking for. But I was looking for like 10 different artists. So I had to create a game plan for, you know, which artists are in row A, which artists are in row B, C, D, all the way down to J, I think. And group it that way so that when the CGC rep became available and they said, who's going to row D? I could be like, I am. And then I go off with them to get whoever I need around there. And sometimes I'm able to finagle a couple other signatures on the way. But needless to say, it's, you know, for someone like James Tynion, who I realized after the fact has a signing window of 2 hours in the middle of the day, 1 to 3. The odds that you're going to sort of have the presence of mind and the game plan all ironed out when you need a double signature to get Derek Chu and James Tynion on the same book in that small window of time, the odds are not good. So what I had to do for this book was I got it signed by Derek Chu. What happens when a CGC witness witnesses you sign the book is they put it in a sealed plastic bag, like a CGC sealed bag, which signifies the contents of this bag have witnessed signatures inside them, right? Problem is, I had gotten a few different books witnessed at the same time from different artists, and they were all in the same bag. So then when I went over to James Tynion's table and realized, oh, he's no longer there for the day, and then I realized, oh, wait, there's another way. There are these certain CGC facilitators, third-party people, fourth-party people, people who are not affiliated with CGC, who have CGC authorization, and they're able to sort of facilitate multiple signings and so forth. Captured Collectibles is one of them. Slab Central or whatever. I don't know. There's different names of different facilitators like this. But basically what I did was I paid them a little premium to keep my Derek Chu book and which was already signed by Chu, and have it also signed by Tynion at a later time. Okay, so the double signature will happen. I just paid a little extra for it to happen because I wasn't going to have time to come back. I wasn't going to come back for Saturday, Sunday. This is a really long story. I hope you guys are following this, or at least a little bit interested. But point being, this was the way. There were two different books. Now I'll turn to Exhibit B. There were two different books that I had this happen for James Tynion. And the reason this happened was because of a Zatanna book. So I got Zatanna, 2 copies of the Zatanna foil from Bird City Comics. Shout out to Bird City, Anthony and Laura. But I decided they were both Natural 98 candidates. I wanted to meet Adam Hughes. I wanted to get them signed. So I got one signed raw and the other one witnessed. But the thing is, with a bigger artist like Adam Hughes, they have their own CGC rep at the table. Because, so, you know, someone like Momoko has this, Hughes has this, Jim Lee has this. There's certain people that just come with their own people. Other smaller artists, you need to find your own CGC witness. Can I get a witness? Adam Hughes was one that had his rep with him. The rep was the one that could sort of, the rep was called Agents of Slabs, okay? Agents of Slabs. And they were the ones that I had to work with. Of course, I would have loved to just use CGC because I'm already getting shipments back from CGC. But this company, Agents of Slabs, was the only way to get an Adam Hughes yellow label at this con. So once I'm already using them for one thing, then I thought, oh, can you help me out with this Derek Chu situation? Can you get me James Tynan on this book tomorrow? And they said, yes, we can. So I paid, every book is another $15 with them. The Tynan signature is going to be $20. But considering the fact that they're going out to scavenge for Tynan's signature, and that is built into the $15 price, that's not a bad deal, basically saving me from having to come back to the con the next day in order to get this damn book double signed. Not that that was an option anyway, but you get my point. Later in the day, I realized this is what I meant about more books being in one CGC bag. I had a different Frizzen foil book signed in a CGC bag. It was a reprint of the Sandman Nightmare Country Frizzen 1 in 100, the portrait of death with the skull. I had that book in a Mexican foil reprint signed by Frizzen, and it was mixed in with a bunch of other books in the CGC bag. So I thought, shit, I can't crack this open right now to give to Agents of Slabs, or it nullifies the witness of all these other books. So what I ended up doing is going to CGC at the end of the day, starting my whole process with what I was submitting and so forth, blue label, yellow label, blah, blah, blah. And then I got them to crack out the Frizzen book, put it in a new CGC bag, and then I ran back down to Agents of Slabs and I said, can you add this to my order? And they said, yes. So, all that to say that I have a Sandman book that's going to be double signed by Frizzen and Tynan, and I have a World Tree book that's going to be double signed by Chu and Tynan. And I'm super excited about that. I mean, I'm not normally a big signature guy, guys, okay? But like, you get in the heat of the moment when you're at New York Comic Con, you're around all this talent, you're around all these superstars, and you start wanting to collect, you start wanting to collect signatures and authenticate them. And, you guys already know, if you've been with me for a while, my opinions on CBCS. Sure, you could go the CBCS way and get signatures verified rather than witnessed, right? Things that are already signed. And that is an option for any of the books that you see here that are raw and signed. However, first of all, it costs more to get it verified than to be witnessed. So it's actually not cost effective if you have the option to do it that way. It's an added service to actually authenticate a signature rather than just see the person sign it. You know what I mean? So I learned that the hard way many years ago. But the other thing is, like, if you don't do CBCS, then it's sort of like a moot point. Like, I'm at the place in my collecting and my business where I'd rather just sort of either keep or sell a book raw than bother to get it verified with CBCS. That's just me. But I will tell you, when you buy any of these signed raw books, if you don't mind CBCS and you want to go for that, I'll tell you whether it's a good 9/8 candidate or not. Let's take this quick break to check out the progress of a book that I'm cleaning, shall we? This is a process called Heat Overlay Press, and it is with a Mark Jeweler Frank Miller book. So let's take a look. Basically, I've got this stack of papers here, and there is what used to be a wet piece of print paper, wet with hydrogen peroxide solution, and it's sort of been lightly pressed into the book, and now we peel it off the book to try to remove foxing and sort of stains and things like that. So let's see how we did. Sometimes it takes multiple treatments, so might as well see how we did since I have to do this right now. Okay, here we are. You can see the book right here. We're dealing with a Daredevil, first Frank Miller, 158, Mark Jeweler. Cracked this out of a 9.2, and the 9.2 is, the reason it's not a 9.8 is mostly because of foxing and other issues on the back cover. So we're going to take the we're going to now remove, just protect the book this way. We're going to remove this sheet of paper and see how it did. Remove it from the other side. This is just the first treatment. Anything come off on this paper? Nothing really visibly coming off on the paper, but sometimes the foxing can still improve. Let's see. Oh yeah, definitely improving. I don't have a before picture to show you, but this is getting way better. Way, way better. Already looks much, much better. You can see the bottom is sort of where most of it remains. Right in there. But that used to be much worse, and there used to be more of that all the way up the spine. You can only very faintly see it now. Looks pretty clean, looks pretty white. So that is the magic of the heat overlay press. Where were we? Thanks for your patience, guys, if you're not interested in any of that stuff. Let's continue with the haul. So I just explained the sort of double sign, triple sign process. The other book that I got done that way, so 8 Billion Genies, I got a first print. I brought this from my own collection. I brought a first print B cover, which is a beautiful Jenny Frison. I got it signed by Jenny, put in a bag, and then I met Charles Sewell and Ryan Brown, who are the creators of 8 Billion Genies. And I picked up their new book, exclusive as well, which is pretty hot right now. Got one signed, one raw, you'll see in a second. But it was really fun to get a book that was already in my collection, didn't have to pay any more for it, get it signed and witnessed by Jenny, and then signed and witnessed by Charles and Ryan. And I actually had a really nice talk with Ryan. I told them how much I have been enjoying 8 Billion Genies. He told me a little inside scoop about the development of the movie that's happening, or is it TV series, but it's going to be live action regardless. They started writing it before the strike, and I think they're about halfway done with the script. So that's still in progress. So it made me even more excited to sort of invest a little more into that title. All right. I think that's a lot of backstory about signing shenanigans. The rest of the stuff is pretty much all self-explanatory, hopefully, about stuff that I decided to keep raw, right? So here is another variant on the Turtles 1, reissue, reprint, or whatever, the 1984 Mirage. This is a John Jiang version, and I got it signed by John Jiang. He charged $15 for a raw signature. Oh well. These were both Natural 9/8 candidates. I would have loved to get Eastman and Jiang on these, but it was not to be. A couple cool Easter eggs on this, and John was really cool to meet as well. He told me about how this was like a big dream of his to do a Turtles cover. He grew up on them and stuff, as we all did. Many of us did. So there's a bunch of Easter eggs on this. There's like a little Comic-Con thing there that's hard to see in this light. And there's more Easter eggs about like 1984 and, Turtles and so forth. It's like a gatefold, front and back, wraparound. It's a wraparound cover. All right, so I got 2 copies, one signed, one unsigned. Okay, next, this is sort of a impulse buy, as most of this was. This is another variant on Star Wars Mandalorian 5. Another Ahsoka cover. This one's by E.M. Gist. And Gist is a very prominent Star Wars artist. I feel like he's most well known for his Star Wars work. And this is a cool cover. It's a black and white. It's limited to 700 copies. This is number 667. And again, it's that Ahsoka sort of pseudo key. And I got him to sign it raw. It's a candidate, just wasn't ready to grade yet, so I just got him to sign it raw. And he's got a really dope signature there. So that's the M. Gist. Now you can see the Adi Grenobs in person. These are gorgeous. I have the trade dress, and then I got one raw black and white signed in gold. which is dope. This one's limited to 700, and I kept one raw, or one unsigned rather. So there's that. Okay, I showed you the Adam Hughes already. All right, now we're getting into Transformers, guys. I've got some pretty good Transformers here before we get into Momoko. All right, so this is gonna be an hour-long video. I can tell we're almost done, I promise. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching with me all the way to the end. The bitter end. All right, so Transformers #1, new book from Daniel Warren Johnson. Superstar creator right now. He's on this hot, Transformers titled New Energon Universe, they're calling it, which is a Skybound series starting with Void Rivals that introduced Transformers and G.I. Joe into this new Energon universe, owned and sort of created by Robert Kirkman, creator of Walking Dead and all that, Invincible and so forth. So yeah, so this is the Slammin variant, or is it Duncan? I think it's Ballin. It's Ballin variant. So it's basically a slam dunk Optimus Prime cover. No pun intended. I mean, yeah, pun intended. These are natural candidates, but it's one of those things where, you meet the creator in the moment and you kind of don't want to be like, don't sign it, because he's signing them all. And you're like, okay, I guess you can sign it. This was a $60 set, and he signed them both. The color and the Virgin sketch. Transformers 1. This one, issue 1, is limited to 900. This is a Tomaselli variant on the same issue. This one, I don't have a COA, but it's Rod Reese, I believe. Rod Reese on a variant. This one, again, I do not have a COA. I can't remember the artist, but there's two of them. Two copies. Oh yeah, one more Tomaselli. I guess I had two of those. That's all the Transformers I got. Yeah, I had two Tomasellis. I think I had an idea to go back to Daniel Warren Johnson and get some Witnessed, but he was not around once I had that idea. All right, into the Momoko verse. We have 4 books signed by Peach. It was similar to Kevin Eastman, not quite as many fans of Momoko, but it was similar in that you needed to be there at certain times in order to get an appointment to come back for the signature. That's how they kind of manage the demand for people like that. They don't want an endless line in the middle of the con floor. For them, they want to sort of manage it and manage people's expectations. So you come up, you try to stand in line. They say, do you have a token or whatever, a ticket? And you say no, and they say, come back at this time. So that's what I had to do. It was worth it. I have another goodie to show you from Peach. Hopefully, yeah, here it is. So it was great to meet her. She's super sweet, as everybody has heard. Her husband is like her manager and sort of translator and stuff. And they were both super nice, and it was great to meet them. I got these books signed. Star Wars Mando #5, another variant of the same issue. It's a sketch cover, beautiful, signed by Peach. None of these were natural candidates, so I kept them all raw. Gorgeous magic cover, X-Men 27. That is the trade dress, limited to 2,000. Signed. This is the Virgin, limited to 800. Signed on that big-ass sword. And the rare sketch, limited to 700, signed on the sword. I love this cover. Maybe I'll keep one of them for myself. Probably not, because you guys want them. All right, that is the Peach, but wait, that's not all. At her table, my friend Davey wanted to get some original art from her. I was not able to look at her original art because Dave wanted me to take a video and they didn't want me to take video. But I did notice these sick prints that were limited and signed, and I got this one. Wowza. I mean, this woman is the real deal. She is a fine artist who happens to do comic covers. She does watercolor as her main medium, and there ain't many, artists doing that in comics. So I think it's really something special. We've all come to sort of take her for granted / maybe get a little sick of her style after a while, because Marvel just uses her for every single release, it seems like. But this is amazing stuff, and I'm glad to have this in my collection because I don't feel like shipping this anywhere, and I like it a lot. So it's joining my collection. I'm gonna get it framed and put it up in the shop along with that cool Mike Allred that I got from Davey. All right, next up we have David Nakayama stuff. This is all stuff that I brought with me to the con. Didn't buy any exclusives from him there, but none of these were really great 9/8 candidates, at least not natural, and or weren't really worth slabbing. So this one would be worth slabbing, but it was like a VF near min. It had a little corner crunch on the back, so I figured why not get it signed by David. He was so nice. He was a super nice guy. He said Silk, he wishes he could be a regular artist on Silk. He thinks it's one of his favorite characters to draw. We've had a little chat about it. I said how much I love this take on her and how it sort of has a different vibe than any other Silk I've seen. It was a great chat, and great to have it signed. I want to keep this, but I think I'll probably sell it now. It's so hot. Next is this Psylocke that I had in my collection I brought with me and got signed. That's the Color Bleed. This is like a regular variant for Red Sonja, black, white, and red. Issue number 2. I thought this was absolutely fire. I have multiple copies of this. Really good one. Signed right here. I have this X-Gwen She-Hulk cover. X-Gwen variant, nice little sort of Wolverine Gwen verse type of thing. Signed right there. And, sort of timely, I sort of dug out my Department of Truth stuff because that's been in the news lately as still being a TV show in development. This is limited to 600 copies, signed by David here. And it's a gorgeous woman in red Color Bleed cover. So those were the 5 books I got signed by David. And I didn't have to pay much. I think I paid $5 a piece for these. $25 for signatures on books I already had. So happy to sort of upgrade those books in that way. All right, next we have the Ryan Ottley bundle. So this is something to show off here. I got this mystery box. 3 different artists were doing these mystery box style things, which is an interesting trend. They're not cheap. They're $175 a piece, and that's if you pay cash. Otherwise, you got to pay tax on it. Otley was doing it. Mark Brooks was doing it, and I believe Frank Cho was also doing it. They were stacked all together, these huge mystery boxes, for just exorbitant prices. And the thing is, 1 of 3 of these boxes is a winning box. And if it's a winning box, you could win original art, sketch work, full figure sketches, gold label, 9/9s, all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? So there are these grand prizes for these. The gambler in me wanted to buy many more of these, okay? But I stopped at just 1. I'm very proud of myself for that. So here's what I got in my Ryan Ottley mystery box. I got this brand new Invincible variant. He signed every single copy of this. So you could potentially get it witnessed by CGC if they see you buying it from their table. But at the moment you buy it and you walk away, it's over. You can't get it witnessed anymore. So the vast majority of these will be signed and raw, which is kind of cool. But so here's the regular trade dress signed by Ottley. The sketch, which is a little more rare, signed by Ottley. The spot foil, even more rare, signed by Ottley. There's only 1 more edition of this that's even more rare. I think it's like, I don't know, more spot foil or whatever. That's the foil. Maybe there's another spot foil. I don't know. And the last book I got, I got this one, which is a Battle Beast variant. Reprint of issue 19, I believe it's his first appearance, and it's funny Tony the Tiger homage, very bloody and gory. That's a fun one. It's a natural 9/8. And then the other book I got in the mystery box was a Hulk 6, first appearance of Titan, which was signed by Ryan Otley. But hey, there's a bonus signature by apparently Donny Cates down here, who was, basically he's like persona non grata. He's nowhere to be found at the convention, and no one's talking about him. It's very strange. But anyway, that was my mystery box from Ryan Otley. It's probably worth about the price of admission, about $175. So can't complain too much about that. All right, next up I have Dan Parent books. We're going to burn through these real quick. These are mostly PC buys. I'm a Dan Parent collector, Archie collector. I don't know how that happened, but somehow I have become one. I picked up this one, signed by Dan. It's a Valentine's Day special bikini cover. Picked up this one because it's an Omega Men 3 homage, and it's a bondage cover, and it's cool, and it's limited to 200 copies. Great Wall of Comics does a lot of Dan Parent Archie covers limited to 200, so shout out to Great Wall for making some rare-ass collectible variants. This is one I wanted when I saw it online, but it was great to see it and buy it straight from the creator, from the artist. So it's a summer special something or other, but I just think it's cool. And it's a Virgin Veronica cover. There's a unsigned and a signed. Gotta just sign it up there. So I met Dan before at Boston Fan Expo, but it was nice to see him again and grab a few things from him. Here are those Ryan Brown and Charles Soule books I mentioned. I got 2 copies of the new book, Wish World, which was exclusive to the con, I believe. At least at this phase. It's not released anywhere else yet. I got one of them double signed raw, and the other one I kept clean. And like I said before, I got them signed on that Frizzen book as well. Next, we have Sozo Micah. 4 books for Sozo Micah. This was her exclusive variant, which they brought out to the floor right as I was meeting her. She was really nice. I think she's got, I don't know, she's a little like anxious or something. But she was cool. She was just a little bit like socially awkward maybe. But she was fine. She was awesome. Obviously I love her work. And this is her exclusive from the con, which on Thursday hadn't got out to the floor yet. So they just so happened to deliver it to her booth as I was there getting her signature, which was really cool because I got to buy a copy and get it signed for free. Here's one I brought to the con. It's this gorgeous Vampirella Valentine's special, which she signed in gold. And this is her first work in comics. I have many copies of this. And she signed it in this gorgeous red ink vertically, which matches the AF over here. It's really nice. So that's cool. And I brought this one, which is one of probably my favorite ever Red Sonja cover. Probably. One of them. With a nice red signature there. So that is my Sozo stuff. Nothing graded, just some nice raw books that I, with the exception of this one, brought from home. And last up, yep, this is the last stuff. This is all of that. I showed you that Scott Williams stuff. This is the stuff, okay? My friend Johnny, shout out Johnny Hansen, hipped me to this cover. When he showed it to me by text, I was kind of like, come on, another Deadpool Wolverine cover. Boring. I don't want to spend money on that. Foil, etc. But when I saw it in person and I realized who the artist was, famous inker to Jim Lee, I think Rob Liefeld and lots of other folks, I know Jim Lee, I'm not sure others, but famous artist in the industry. When I realized it was his work and how gorgeous the manufacturing on this book is, it's just flawless with these really cool accompanying COAs and everything. I got one for my friend Johnny because he requested it. And then I sprung for the Remark I told you guys about, which I got graded. And then I got a raw signed, and just look at this signature. How cool is that? Straight horizontal signature in metallic blue ink. It just really pops on the cover, and it's just really fun. So I'm glad I got one raw signed. And then at his table, he also had these, and I couldn't say no. Here is a gorgeous, this is Wolverine 33, Scott Williams exclusive. with this dope COA on the back. I want to say it's kind of a Phantom X homage, no? It kind of looks a little Phantom X-y to me, but that might not be deliberate. This is just super cool. This is like classic 90s goodness. Great Deadpool cover. It wasn't too expensive, and this is a natural 98 candidate. I think that there's going to be a CGC mail-in signing announced for Scott Williams, and then a bunch of other creators that also are involved. So I think I'm going to reserve this for such a time when I can maybe send it in and get some crazy signage going on. I don't know why I'm suddenly a convert to the Signature Series. I don't know. I will say that with however hard slabs are to move in general relative to raw books, when it comes to Signature Series, I don't sit on them very often. I don't have much trouble moving them ultimately. So maybe that is part of. I have some positive, psychological reinforcement for this impetus to get everything signed and slabbed. We'll see how the raw books do. That's a little bit of a question mark. Now, finally, guys, this was sort of a surprise pickup again from Scott Williams' booth, because this was the leftover from his San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Now, check this out. This might not look like a lot, but again, it's really nicely manufactured. It's got the portraits in the corner box. And then you flip it around, and you've got the COA with the same corner box art, and this is not the back of the book. This is actually what they're calling an animation cell. So it's basically a piece of acetate that, somebody say acetate? That has the same art on it. It's just such a nice kind of way to enhance the collectible, So that's the regular copy. This is the color variation Virgin, which is also excellent looking. And then you've got a different style of animation cell, so to speak, on the back, with kind of a hollow COA going on here. Just so many cool 90s gimmicky, shiny goodness. And this is the super rare one, the sketch one. Doesn't have the animation cell on the back, but this one is way rarer than the other two. And they only had one set left from San Diego, according to them. They only had one set remaining. So I was the last person to acquire this version of this book. And this issue, if you're curious, was X-Men number 22. So this is a pretty hot set. It was not cheap. Paid over $100 for this set. But, they all come with these clear backing boards. They're all super high quality manufacturing. They're all 9/8 candidates. So those will be available this week as well. Guys, that is my haul from San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to record a couple other videos. The CGC haul, I just got back 50 books from CGC, so stay tuned for that this week as well. I will see you guys next time. Tune in Thursday night for a big auction and claim sale on Instagram at mmcomicsales. We're going to do it live. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Hit that like button on the way out and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.